Okay, hello students. Welcome to the Mike Sword Academy. So we are going to be looking at Charles Law questions today. So we have two questions on Charles Law. So question 1 and question 2. So we'll start with question 1. We have that the volume of a fixed gas is 400 centimeter cube at 20 degrees Celsius. Calculate the volume of 80 degrees Celsius at 80 degrees Celsius, assuming that the pressure is constant. Now, when we talked about Charles Law in our previous class, we explained that the Charles Law gives us the relationship between volume and temperature, and we saw a direct relationship between the volume and the temperature. So now this is the volume V and this is the temperature. But this temperature, we refer to it as the absolute temperature. So what is the absolute temperature? The temperature in Kelvin. So if we should rearrange this, we are going to see for different states that V1 all over T1 is equal to V2 all over T2. So that gives us the different states for the Charles Law. So this is the initial state and this is the final state. So we need to locate what V1, V2 and the rest of them are. So we have that the volume of the fixed gas is this. So the first volume is giving us 400 centimeter cube and the temperature T1 is 20 degrees Celsius. Then calculate the volume. So we are looking for V2 when the temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. Now, to find V2 is to just substitute and get the answer. But there's something important here. Remember, I said the absolute temperature, which must be in Kelvin. But the problem we have here is given in degrees Celsius. So we must convert this temperature rather to Kelvin. How do we convert this? We simply add with 273. So now let us do the conversion. So I'm going to solve for the conversion here. T1 is 20. I'll plus it with 273. And if I do that, it will give me 293 now in Kelvin. So I have converted from degrees Celsius to Kelvin. Now we also do for T2. T2 is 80. So I'll plus it with 273 and that will give me 353 in Kelvin. So we have this. Now we can substitute. So V1 is 400 divided by T1. Remember, we are not using this now. We'll be using 297, the absolute temperature. Then V2 is unknown, and we also have T2. T2, we use this one, which is 353. So now, to make V2 the subject formula, we are going to cross multiply. 400 will multiply with 353, and we multiply this to then divide with 293. So that means my V2 will simply be, when these two multiply, is 400 times 353, then divide by the value you have here, which is 293. So if you do that division, V2 will now be given as, if you point that in your calculator, you should be getting 481.91 centimeter cube. So that becomes the final volume. So with Charles' law, we are able to solve this. Now let us solve this other problem, question 2. Now if you watch also, it's also a problem of Charles' law, because we are given the volume and the temperature, but we assume that the pressure is constant. So now we have an oxygen gas with a weight of this, so they give us the mass at a pressure of this, which occupies a volume of 15. So the first volume there is given as 15.5 dm cube, and the temperature corresponding to that is given as 500 Kelvin. Now they say, what is the volume when its temperature is 700 Kelvin? So if the temperature becomes 700 Kelvin, then what will be the final volume? So we want to get the final volume here. We have our temperature the initial and the final, and we have the initial what? Volume. But you can see that the temperature is given in what? In Kelvin. So we don't need to do any what? Conversion. So we go direct to substitute. We go back to our Charles formula. It says that V1 all over T1 is equal to V2 all over T2. So let's do the substitution. That implies that V1 is 15.5 all over T1 is 500, then equal to V2, we don't know it, we are looking for it, then T2, which is 700 watts Kelvin. So if we should cross multiply, we want to make V2 the subject formula. So I will use 700 to multiply with 15.5. That will give us 700 times 15.5. Then I will divide with what? With 500. So if I do that division and punch in my calculator, I will be getting 21.7 dm cube. Now we leave the answer in dm cube because V1 is also in what? In dm cube. So with this, we have been able to solve questions that relate to what? Charles' law. So in the next video, we are going to see questions that relate to the Graham's law of diffusion. So if you are new to the channel, do well to subscribe and also click the notification button because Mike Salt will be posting several videos on chemistry, physics, and maths. Thank you.